Today I'm going to look at the techniques covered in this little piece of lace. It's the second lesson in the Books Point Lace workbook. We're going to look a little bit at ground again, which was covered in the first lesson, and adding pairs in for the fan in cloth stitch. On this one you can also do the edge as winky pins with a little vein, or you can do it with picots. I'm going to do it today with the winky pin, as I've covered the picots again in a previous video. We're going to start by putting a pin on the foot side, and we're going to add 2 pairs in open formation. I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit more of it. So in open formation, rainbow style, so that you've got one inside the other. And then put 2 twists on one of them, it doesn't matter which, and hang a temporary support pin at the back of the work, and hang 2 pairs on that, this time side by side. This is to get you into using these techniques, because when you come to do a full edging you will need these 2 to be side by side, so that it maintains 2 loops to sew into at the end of the piece. Of the 2 on the outside edge, take the inside one in cloth stitch through the 2 passives hanging on the support pin at the back of the pillow, and put 3 twists on. Next hang another support pin up there and put another pair on to work the first point ground stitch, which is half stitch and 2 twists, and the first pinhole on the inside edge is a catch pin, so we hang that to the right of both pairs as we did in the first video, and then we can take those back through the 2 passives and work the edge. Now they do jump about a little bit at the moment until you get them all secured. 2 twists on and pin up under those workers, and then work the edge pin, which is a cloth stitch, 2 twists on the inside and an extra one on the outside. This gives you a change of worker edge, so every time you've worked this edge pin you do the edge stitch and it changes, it swaps the worker with the one that was remaining there, and this gives you a very straight foot side edge for attaching to fabric if you wish to do that later. Now because I've got both of the pins both sides of the trail in, I can now release these. Again, if you were going to work it as an edging, you would lay it horizontal at the back of those pins, and you can take the inside pair through the 2 passives and put your 3 twists on, so that it's ready for the next point ground stitch when you get to that point. And again, take the support pin out, just making sure you don't lose the loops. We now go and put another support pin in and add the next pair. Work the point ground stitch and put the pin up, and then you're ready to do the catch pin. Now this time I'm actually working from the edge here and working diagonally to the foot side, just to show you the alternative way of working this. Last time, if you remember watching the video, we worked diagonally to the left, and this time I'm working diagonally to the right. Back through the passive so it's ready for the next catch pin, and the twists on again. And I'm going to continue to do this all the way down until I get to the cloth stitch. I'll do that off camera, it does get a little bit tedious watching me do the same thing repeatedly. Okay, so I've just switched back on so I can put the last pair in for the last row of ground. We just work that last row and then we'll start on the cloth stitch fan on the outside edge. Just work the foot side so we've got that in place. Helps when you don't try and put 2 pins in the pinhole as well. So that is the ground now worked as far as you can go without working the fan. So we'll push all those to one side. On the fan you'll have 1 pair of the ground coming in at each pin. So you can just see those here, they're all ready to come in to each of the pinholes. We're now going to hang the last 2 pairs on a temporary support pin, hanging them side by side so they're still in the pairs in order. And the first pair of bobbins coming off that top pin is worked through the 2 pairs you've just added on in cloth stitch, and we're going to put 2 twists on and put the first pin in the fan. Now this fan I'm going to work the edge as winky pins, and that is 2 twists on your pin, 2 twists on your pairs and put the pin in. This is a winky pin. Now I'm also going to work a veined edge, so we work back through the edge pair and twist, cloth stitch and twist, and through the second one, and then to the next pin taking in another pair of bobbins, 2 twists on and put your pin up. And we can now drop this temporary support pin down. Now if you were doing this to join up, again you would lay the loops over the pin to the back, but because we're doing it as a sample we can drop them down just very carefully, easing them down. And back through to the outside edge. Now before we work the edge stitch, which is a cloth stitch and twist, we put 1 twist on the worker pair and then cloth stitch and twist, and an extra twist on the outside edge. It just makes it that little bit firmer on the edge. Cloth stitch and twist to come back, and where the stitch is cloth stitch and twist, it means twist both pairs once. And through, and then taking in the next pair. And 2 twists on your workers. Each time tensioning up by gently stroking the bobbins. Before the last stitch, twist, cloth stitch and twist. An extra one on the edge each time. Now if you find this doesn't give you a big enough vein, you could put 2 twists on there, but remember to put it in both directions before and after the pin. This is the one thing that often catches people out where they're doing this twisted edge. You can now see the cloth stitch coming quite nicely, and you can see the distinctive vein in there. Continue with the cloth stitch, each time taking 1 in until you get to the widest point. And this is the last one to come in. If you're unsure which one's coming in, if you were getting to this point and weren't sure, and you looked and thought, now is this one coming in? Look at the angle of the line, and this will tell you. It doesn't go across to that pin, it's coming down this next diagonal line. So this one does not come in, it stays in the ground. Sometimes when you get a lot of pairs of bobbins on, you can't quite see where they're actually going to. If if you just lie the bobbins and the threads in the direction they were travelling, that tells you where they're going to. Now this one, for some reason, the twist's come off, so I'll put the twist back on. And it's a case really of watching your threads rather than the bobbins. Something that lace makers sometimes find difficult when they first start making lace. And you can see now the vein's quite nice and clear, even though I've only used one twist. And this twist helps to maintain that edge and keeps the outside passives right up against the pin. Now this time we're leaving them out. That's the widest point and that one is left out. And so when you've left it out, if you put 3 twists on, when you come back to it again it reminds you it's left out. So again this one will be left out this time. So after covering the pin I can put the 3 twists on straight away to remind me. I nearly put 2 twists on then instead of 1. This one's left out, so 3 twists on it and left out. Now at this point you're at the point of the fan, so you just work through it, put your twists on and then it's ready to continue. Now you would need to work all of the ground in here in the same way that we did the first block to be able to continue with the next fan. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If it's helped you, please leave me a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more videos coming soon. Let me know if there's anything you particularly want to see as well. Thanks for watching.